Okay, so here we're going to look at a little extract from Captain Scott's diary. Now, Captain Scott was a famous adventurer, and him and his men, they were trying to get to Antarctica. We'll find out a little bit more about him in the lesson. But I want you to have a look at some of the features in his diary. We're going to read it together. Okay, so this is one of the first entries that he did. Entry 1. Here, it is most difficult to predict what is going to happen. Sometimes the southern sky looks dark and ominous, but within half an hour all has changed. The land comes and goes as the veil of stratus lifts and falls. It seems as though the weather is made here rather than dependent on the conditions elsewhere. It is all very interesting. Now look at some of the descriptive language that he uses. For example, the southern sky looks dark and ominous. You'll notice that what Scott does is he starts to weave in all this descriptive language in amongst language that's designed to give facts to the reader. Because what he was trying to do was to make it descriptive and interesting, but he also needed to get across a lot of the facts as well, because what he was doing was a fact-finding mission. You know, he was essentially bringing back information from where he was going, but it was also entertaining. So Tuesday, February the 21st, new camp about 12 miles from safety camp, 15 and a half miles. So this is all sort of our factual information, isn't it? So when you come to write your own diary entry in the style of Captain Scott, which you will, you'll get in a lot of this descriptive language and this factual language as well. We made a start as usual at about 10 p.m. The light was good at first, but rapidly grew worse till we could see little of the surface. The dogs showed signs of wearying. About half an hour later, after starting, we came on mistily outlined pressure ridges. And look at some of this description that he adds in there. It makes it sound almost ghostly. We were running by the sledges. Suddenly Wilson shouted, "Hold on to the sledge," and I saw him slip a leg into the crevasse. I jumped to the sledge but saw nothing. 5 minutes after, as the teams were trotting side by side, the middle dogs of our team disappeared. In a moment, the whole team were sinking. So even though this is a factual text and this is Scott settling down to write his diary at the end of a hard day, he still manages to get in all of these phrases which start to build up a sense of time. Okay? So you've got things, words like suddenly, linking to a dramatic event. You've got later on 5 minutes after, in a moment, adding drama and tension. The whole team was sinking. And you've got these sort of action verbs as well, which build up a sense of pace to the writing. Words like trotting and sinking. And also jumped you've got as well. So there's a real sense of pace with Scott's vocabulary choices that he makes here. In a moment, the whole team was sinking. 2 by 2, we lost sight of them, each pair struggling for foothold. Again, these verbs which add that further description and tension. Osman, the leader, exerted all his great strength and kept a foothold. It was wonderful to see him. The sledge stopped and we leapt aside. So lots of sort of action verbs that build up a sense of pace here. So as we're reading this text in class, what I'd really like you to focus on is the way that the writer builds in this lovely description, like dark and ominous, almost this sense of foreboding there you've got, and lifts and falls. The way he sort of puts in these two adjectives or two verbs to get across more of a description, and then the way he links in facts as well, and the way he starts to build in a sense of linking phrases to build up time, so we're aware of time passing, and the way he starts to use different verbs to get across a sense of pace to his writing.